Welcome, everybody. Great to see you all here. Friday edition. We're here on Substack. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined with Lev Parnas. We're going to be breaking down what took place at this meeting between Donald Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office, and not just what took place at the meeting, but what's really going on here. That's not being said, but what is taking place. We know that you flagged this issue for us in the past 2 weeks, Lev, where you said, watch what Dmitriev is doing. Um, Putin sending his envoy to do flattering diplomacy amongst MAGA Republican Congress members, Donald Trump. And before that was even really being reported, you had told us that your sources were telling you that quote unquote charm offensive was going to be put on, because what was supposed to happen this week, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lev, were two things. Sanctions, after Trump keep on talking about it. This was one of the other 2 weeks on sanctions. Number one. Number two, Tomahawk missiles or other long-range missiles were supposed to be sent by the United States to Ukraine. On a bipartisan level, I mean, everyone from Lindsey Graham was expecting that these missiles would be arriving this week, and he'd been saying such publicly. Senator Thune, the majority leader, saying that these missiles were expected to arrive. Sure enough, earlier this week, Trump and Putin have the phone call. Donald Trump says, great phone call. He assured me we're on the right track. We're on the right track. We're on the right track. And then as soon as that phone, and by the way, that phone call, from what I hear, and your sourcing is better than mine on this, Lev, so I'm going to toss it over to you in just a bit. But Zelensky and the Ukrainians did not know that call was happening and did not expect it to happen the way it went down. So they were in town preparing for their meeting today, and then they learned that Trump was on the phone with Putin, and they likely would not have done the meeting today had they known that call was going to happen, because you would have known Trump's just going to take whatever Putin says to you and then throw it at you the very next day, and he's going to adopt the Putin framing. And Putin knows that. I got to do this call right before he meets with Zelensky to put in his head all of the Russian talking points. And that's kind of what happened, and you tell me what your sourcing said, but there was that. They talked about building a tunnel or a bridge from Alaska, to Russia, and it got ridiculous. But Lev, let's talk about it.
I mean, Ben, first of all, thanks for the call. And I'm glad that we're doing this instead of speaking at a telephone, coming on live like this. And I think that's a great little segment we got going on. We try to keep it going. But yeah, so you have it on the dot. Let me just fine tune some of the situation that transpired. First of all, this was always the plan. Donald Trump was never planning on giving them Tomahawks, just like he was never planning on giving them Patriot missiles prior to this, prior to Alaska. That was the conversation. It was always a plan. And this is going back to, and this is important from what I'm sourcing and that I'm going to be reporting on it later on. I'm getting some more information on. But when Trump, a part of this goes back to even 2017. See, the people that are involved in all of these negotiating and conversation and giving Trump the information when it comes to the Middle East and when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, are the same three people. It's Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and Kirill Dmitriev. These three people, and Witkoff was part of that alignment going back to 2017 in Trump's first office, back when Dmitriev ran the Russian Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Kushner was there to get his own investment fund going, and Witkoff was partners with Kushner on some of the deals. So they go way back, that relationship. Now, with that said, as Trump has been talking about, if you go back to Alaska, the same thing played out in Alaska, what's playing out right now. 2 days prior to the Alaska announcement, Trump was supposed to announce sanctions on Russia. If you remember, which he didn't, he announced only 50% on India. He was supposed to also, big Epstein drop was supposed to come. And all of a sudden, Witkoff gets summoned to Moscow, summoned to Moscow. And then this announcement was announced that they're going to meet in Alaska. For the next 2 weeks, that's all we heard about. Everything else got delayed, which worked, part of their destruction. They kept doing what they were doing. Same thing happens today, just like you said. They were supposed to have, Trump was talking about sanctions, but what was actually playing out behind the scenes this time, which is a little bit different, because what transpired in Alaska, and I was talking about, was not about peace negotiations, but it was a legitimizing Russia itself. And that's why, trade and stuff like that. And what you start seeing play out even in the past several days prior to this phone call, prior to the meeting, all of a sudden you had Congresswoman Anna Paulina come out there and send a letter to invite the same Kirill Dmitriev to come and to discuss trade. Not to discuss about peace, not to discuss trade between Russia and the United States. The media didn't really report on it. It stayed under the radar. But what started to transpire going back and forth was this Twitter relationship between Kirill Dmitriev and Anna Paula Luna going back and forth that led to all of a sudden this Russian ambassador handing over to her the JFK files. But the JFK files not from CIA or American, vetted sources, but from the KGB folks, actual KGB files that have been handed over to a U.S. congresswoman that are not vetted, that she is now promoting as U.S. propaganda. But the interesting part is, and again, this is not, none of this is coincidence, because this is all played out, because out of those JFK files, the one thing that all of a sudden gets found and gets put onto the internet is this plan of the supposed tunnel. This tunnel between the United States and Russia, folks, in Alaska, this bridge, tunnel, whatever you want to call it. And this Kirill Dmitriev all of a sudden picks up on it. Yesterday conversation was basically discussing, and Trump even said it himself. He said, we spend most of the time today talking about trade. Now think about what kind of trade could we be talking about with Russia? We're not talking about caviar. What we're talking about, and I want to remind you, is Nord Stream 2, energy, natural gas, minerals. The minerals that Putin is planning on taking from Ukraine. Because what's being sold to Donald Trump and what was sold to Donald Trump was two things when he came into office. Bibi told him that if you leave in the Middle East to me and let me do what I need to do, I will wipe out Gaza and I will give you that prime real estate that you see him talking about. It took a while. It took maybe longer than what's it called, but Bibi came to us, gave him what he wanted. Putin promised the same thing. But Putin promised even quicker. That's why you see Trump making comments saying, even today, literally today, he made a comment in the Oval. He said, in front of Zelensky, he said, it doesn't look good on Russia. They should have taken Ukraine in a week. And it's been 3 years. Because it's been promised to him that this Russian powerful army, it was going to go in there, take Ukraine out, put them to their knees, and then Trump is going to have to make a deal. So that's what was discussed yesterday. This was all dragged out. This was all planned out. This was all part of a game. I said it to you before, and I'll say it again. Trump is not going to give Ukraine anything that will hurt Russia. Even if he were to give them some sort of missiles, it wouldn't be enough, or it wouldn't be anything remotely close to allowing to shatter the relationship. Because what's being said and what's being done is two different things. What's being done, Ben, is we're having normalization relationships between Russia and America, and the next step you're going to see is an announcement where one of those oligarchs that used to be sanctioned is all of a sudden investing billions or hundreds of billions of dollars into some sort of United States, just like we have, bases in Idaho for Qatar, just like we have all kinds of, everything's for sale nowadays.
Yeah, and Trump's thirst for two things: one, personal wealth; two, a deal, just to say deal, and then being at a meeting where world leaders say they like him. Like, to me, those are the three things that he wants, and it's very easy to manipulate him if you're a world leader based on those things. I mean, to me, when I like to break it down very easy because I'm a simple person. When I say deal, the first question I ask is, great. So the parties signed the agreement, right? Like, and so when you go look at what happened in the Middle East and all of these other deals that tried to be made when Clinton tried to broker with Arafat, and we know just all those times, the actual people would go side by side, shake hands, they'd meet, and they would sign the document, and that never worked out. So the first question I asked, I was like, "Oh, great! So you're telling me Netanyahu and Hamas signed the deal?" They're like, "No, no, no, they didn't sign the deal." I'm like, "So they didn't agree to it?" "No, no, 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 no." So you're telling me there's a deal, but no one agreed to it. And so what is Hamas agreeing to disarm? No, 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 they're not. So is Israel agreeing to a two-state solution? No, no, no. So what's going to happen basically? Well, the 20 hostages will be returned. Good. Oh, that's good. I'm good. Let's 20 hostages returned. That's great. Biden got 83% of the hostages back. Trump got hostages. All good. The idea of a ceasefire, that's good. But are you telling me that basically what we are right now is October 6th? The status quo that existed right before October 7th is basically that's it. Hamas is running the show again in Gaza. Netanyahu says he doesn't
The-
support a two-state
executing,
solution.
executing people.
So, yeah, 20, by the way, 20, yeah, Hamas is executing people in Gaza. 24 Palestinians have been killed by Israel. I mean, I'm like, what are we doing here? And I'm supposed to pretend that this is like I'm supposed to pretend there's world peace. There was obviously Israel struck Hezbollah yesterday, and last night it hit him. But like, I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we doing here? I want to be optimistic. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the Nobel Peace Prize. That's all we're talking about. Just think about every world leader. It's like if it wasn't as really sad, if there weren't really people dying, kids suffering. I mean, all of this destruction going around all over the world, even in our own country. Think about what's going on in our own country, Ben. We're talking about destruction in Gaza. We're talking about destruction in Ukraine. We're talking about U.S. forces inside of the United States every day. Right now in Chicago, people are getting arrested, beat up, kidnapped off the street. 26 Federal Plaza, you have families being destroyed every single day, ripped apart. The videos we're watching. I mean, this is the America we're living in, and this is the world we're living in. And he's talking about he's the peace president because he needs the Nobel Peace Prize. And it's interesting to see how everybody is like you have all these dictators. It's comical to see Vladimir Putin. Just think about it, folks. Vladimir Putin and Russia out there talking about how Trump should have won the Nobel Peace Prize. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at him. It's like it's rhetorical. And for anybody to really believe that Vladimir Putin is upset that Trump did not get the Nobel Peace Prize for Israel, or that if anybody really believes that he stopped any war. I mean, he keeps talking 48 wars, 37 wars. I've lost track of how many wars he started, he ended, but none of those wars have, he doesn't even, he can't even figure out who's fighting who. He kept telling Albania is fighting Armenia, and the presidents didn't even understand. I mean, we're a laughing stock. It's insane to the degree. But with that said, Ben, there's real people suffering. There's real people dying. There's real people, and what he's doing to Ukraine right now, what he's doing in the Middle East, is a catastrophe. He should not get the Nobel Peace Prize. He should be a war criminal. He should get impeached. Right now, there should be a movement and strong enough, and there we should have some leadership or something put together strong enough to be able to get enough sane individuals. This should not be a bipartisan issue to be able to get. I mean, this is a guy that's talking about building arcs and from him in the White House with his name on it. He's talking about in the world, every deal, it's a Trump peace deal. He's the leader. It's a Trump this. It's not the narcissism has over exceeded. It's like I said, I wrote in my Substack today, he lives in his own bubble right now. He's in his own illusion. He sees it only his way. There's no other way, and he has these enablers that are allowing him to do it, Ben. And we need to get louder. We need to get stronger. And yes, Substack, great, great, but we're reaching out to only a certain amount. We need to start crossing over and reaching out to the other. We need to get some surrogates together and start hitting all the sides, because you know what? I look to the other side and they're just as pissed off. I mean, Epstein files still. People are still can't understand what's going on. They're not letting him go with that. The things that are going back and forth between Israel, between what's going on with the war. I mean, yes, he's getting little wins in here, but overall, I mean, he's tanking. His numbers, I mean, are all over the place. No,
Yeah, no, they are. And when you look, let's not forget we're in a government shutdown right now, right?
that's
We're in a government shutdown. The Trump regime says that they will be paying all of their ICE agents what they call a super bonus check to pay them all right now during the government shutdown, while workers in public health and energy and emergency management and weather forecasting and you name it are just being fired left and right. You have Trump saying, well, we're firing all these people because they're Democratic agencies, or like these are Democratic projects. And it's like, you're going to screw Manhattan, New York City, and Boston, like you're going after, and Chicago, like the cities that lit, like you're just an effing idiot, because these cities and states are subsidizing your failed red states. I mean, Gavin Newsom talks about this a lot, but California is a donor state. We give $85 billion to the federal government more than we take, whereas Texas takes $75 billion more than it gives. These red states are run like Viktor Orban's Hungary or Javier Milei's Argentina. They're failed states that are quite literally subsidized by blue states. Los Angeles County, if it were a state, would be the fourth largest donor state in the entire country. And then you have all of these failed red states with these people who call themselves fiscal hawks and economic conservatives. It's like y'all bankrupt your place over and over again, and your very survival is based on blue states, diverse, pluralistic blue states freaking funding you. And so it's a very strange dynamic. But what's happening now in these red states and red areas, whether it's the farmers or whoever, it ain't getting more, is things aren't more affordable, things are not getting better for them, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. And as Donald Trump's out there, and I'll give you the last word, Liv, as Trump's out there bragging about the latest numbers, $20 trillion he claims he brought in. I mean, just the most farcical made up numbers, in the world. It's not even 1 trillion that he brought in. $20 trillion. Okay, well, you promised people Doge dividend checks. That never happened. Remember Doge? That was a Ponzi. You now promise people tariff rebate checks. That ain't happening. It's just all one big lie. Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme, $66 billion. This is a $20 trillion Ponzi scheme right now in our economy. We see regional banks going bankrupt this week. We see homes that people can't afford homes. Worst market for homes since like 1995. Jobless. We don't even get the data because they gutted the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But I'll give you the final word, Lev, before we go.
No, Ben. I mean, it's really scary out there, and people DM me, message me all the time, and say, "What do we do? What's going on?" I mean, think about with all of that. Add to it that I mean, we're just shooting out boats in the middle of the ocean. We don't care, with no due processes, because and making fun of it, saying there's no more fishermen in the sea. People are scared to go. Just think about it. The president of the United States making fun of killing, executing people that even Rand Paul came out and said, listen, 25% of the information that we get usually is wrong, and people don't have drugs on their boat. So even if you take their own numbers, that means we're executing 25% of innocent individuals that are there for whatever. But again, we could be here for hours or days or weeks talking about all the shit that he is doing, destroying, and what's it called. The bottom line is we need to take our democracy back, and the only way we could do it is with our voices, with our strength, with our support. Starting off by subscribing to independent journalism. There's no better independent journalism today than the MeidasTouch. What they have put together is something bigger and stronger, and we need more support because that's what it's all about, getting out there. Independent journalists like my son Aaron, extremely important, and others like them. And very importantly, we need whistleblowers like me, like Michael, like Olivia Troy, like Miles Taylor. All of this combined is at the front line of our fight right now against disinformation, and that's why each and every one of you is part of our army, part of our support, part of our extension of our voices, our megaphone to be able to spread the message far and wide against all platforms, not just the echo chamber, which they try to keep in. So that's why it's important. So make sure you subscribe. If you can, make sure you become paid subscribers because, we don't have any billionaires. We don't have corporate, sponsors. We don't have Elon Musk writing those $100 billion checks. We have each and every one of you. And that's why together we'll continue speaking truth to power, and together we're going to get our democracy back. So as bad as it looks, and as gloom as and doom as it looks, we together, our voices will perceive it, and history will repeat itself, and we will win. And tomorrow, big day. It's October 18th, no King's Day. I know a lot of you are worried and scared. I know he's out there threatening and doing a lot of things. But if you can make it, stay safe, stay vigilant, and go out there, make your voices be heard, take back our flag, take back our patriotism, because I remember I was part of Mega. We made it. And part of the beginning part of making Mega was to take away your flag, the country, to divide us, to take away that patriotism word, because patriotism doesn't mean you're on the right or left. The flag doesn't mean that you're on the left. It means all Americans, all for one. So that's why tomorrow, take your flags out, let your voices be heard. The Midas guys, I know you guys are going to be covering it. Why? Make sure you subscribe, follow it. I'm going to be doing something, hopefully, also. I don't know yet what. And, let our voices be heard, Ben. That's the important part. Unity.
Everybody subscribe to Lev's Substack. Lev, great for you to shout out Cohen, who's in there too. He's a great writer also, and he's got his Substack, and your son Aaron, great Substack, who broke a big story at the MeidasTouch Network this week about Trump's vanity military parade shutting down the I-5. Aaron broke that story with us. So subscribe to Lev's Substack. I want to thank everybody. I'll be at the peaceful protest tomorrow in my area also. Hope to see people there. We're really grateful for you, Midas Mighty. Just get out the word about what we're building here with independent media. That's the best way you can help. Just sharing with people Substack, sharing with people this platform, sharing with people the YouTube channel, sharing with people all this data that we try to break down and spend a lot of time trying to make sure that we repair and rebuild what the Fourth Estate tore down and what their capitulation meant. We're trying to bring that up and reinvigorate journalism the way it should be. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. I hear my baby girl in the background,
Go,
so
baby.
I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I'll
Have a
see
great
everybody soon.
weekend. Take care, Ben. Bye-bye.